and welcome all over the world. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. So my name is Markus. I'm head of mobile development here in cross mobile engineering and for SAP. And today I like to bring you a little bit closer to the how can we enhance mobile apps or our mobile app experience with business AI. And for that, I like to take you a little bit with us to a journey what my team and we all together did. And for that, I start first of all, we have a SAP Ariba Shopping app. So all of you working for SAP, you can go to the self-service if you like, and you can download the SAP Ariba Shopping app there. So if you like to buy something via Ariba, this is the way to go. And all of you are, I guess, in your private life, you're using a lot of B2C shopping apps. If it's in general topics like with the Amazon shopping app, or even for clothes or other things, you are already used to really good user experience often, right? And what we like to achieve, or our team or SAP in general, is that we offer as well really great user experience. And to be honest, people love to use the app and change their behavior, how they daily run their businesses. And this as well for a B2B shopping app. And with that, I take you a little bit with me to the shopping app, what we have, what you can download and use on your own is if you start the SAP Ariba Shopping app, you come here. This is more or less the landing page or the main view you're coming in. You see on the top that you can search for products. You can even do a photo, and we do image recognition and try to figure out which kind of, if you like to shop the same laptop what you have on the side here, for example, but as well other possibilities. For example, let's use today a MacBook, that I like to buy a new MacBook, because just now, unfortunately, my Mac had a restart. So maybe I need a new one, which is a real example for me. Okay, if you search inside the app, you see here the MacBook, and you see a long list at the end. So the question is, what's best for you actually? Because as you are used to with customer apps, for example, or in your private life, you like to get recommendation, good advice. Something like if you go to a shop and a good advisor gives you the perfect stuff or the perfect model for you. Because you don't know often what is really there inside the catalog of the company. And can we improve that? Even if you get such a result, I mean, if you would see the app, you can scroll down, because there are plenty MacBooks inside, different price points, different memory, all those kind of possibilities. But you can, of course, filter. What you always can do is price ascending, for example. You can search for the best-selling part, for name, alphabetic sorting, etc. pp. But even then, you get still a long list often, and you don't know if this is the right product you like to buy. Let's go for the next step for the app. What we are doing, or what you have is, if I choose one, like the M2 MacBook Air here, we show, okay, you can directly put what you're used to as well in the private life, put the Mac in your cart, in the shopping basket, and do more or less the checkout. And in the checkout, what you're doing is, you put a name in, your name. You can even change your delivery address. Think about shipping not in the office, shipping into to your home. As of today, if you're sitting at home, then I like to get my Mac at home and not in the office. And you can change some other topics. Yeah, and then it's simple as it is, few requisition. So think now about what I mentioned before. We like to really bring apps out to our customers the users love to use. And for that, because of AI right now, we can infuse smartness, that you get the right stuff, what you need at the end of the day. But bringing in features, AI features, is especially if you're starting, not that easy. Because first of all, you need to have an idea. Not every idea, to be honest, is you need really AI behind, because AI is not cheap. You need to run a lot you're using the models, the different large language models, depends on your company, what you have inside, or what we in SAP are using, energy consumption, all those kind of things. Do a feasibility check. Often, what we figured out as well is if you go with, if this, then. So you can use normal if statements or switches. You don't need the smartness always from an AI or what's behind there. Then a really important part is, do you have the data collection and are they prepared? Do you have access to the data? Because it's regarding GDPR, you cannot easily access all the data. Sometimes the data are not really at your hand, which means at the end of the day, you need maybe as well adjust the whole data, let's say, management in the company. So we need to cross-check that. The model development is as well another important thing. You need AI expertise. The question is, do you run as a company own foundational model? Do you have already a large language model? Or is it totally fine for you, for your use case, that you go with third parties? In example, what you see later for our POC, we are totally fine with the data and we go with the with ChatGPT. Saying that, as mentioned, we started with a proof of concept. The idea, improve the searching with natural language processing, the chatbot, and recommend and explain the right product for you, what we found. On the right side here, now you see we introduced a nice user experience there inside the app. So it's a native iOS app, what you see here. You can, in the chat, you type in the recommend me a MacBook laptop under $1,200 for mobile development purposes. And that's the answer what you get from our solution behind. The important thing is here, we don't like to go, you can go today out and open ChatGPT, right? You can ask the same question. And then maybe, depends if you're running on the latest model or when it's trade, if you're paying for ChatGPT, you get up-to-date information. Maybe you get as well the latest MacBook, which are released 2 days ago, with the last keynote Apple had with their M3 at the end of the day. But in reality, in our B2B business, we have the SAP Ariba catalogs. And the SAP Ariba catalogs contains the data inside, or the products inside the company are offering to their employees. And that's why we need to take care that our solution is only offering, obviously, the products what are part of the catalog. Let's do a short digression embeddings, because what you need from the technology is for information retrieval, you need embeddings at the end of the day. But what is that? Embeddings, I guess you heard it. If you are touching AI quite in the early stage, you get this word embeddings or this technology. At the end of the day, you see these two dimensional embeddings of diagram on the right side. And the basic concept, if you think like that, is how can you transfer words like coding, kid, child, skateboarding programs into a vector room and bring them close to each other if they are related to each other. Here you can easily see with program and coding has a relation. That's why in the coordinate systems they are close to each other. Kids and child as well. So a child is often a kid, or at least a given time. And that's why they are as well really, really close to each other here. And skateboarding is a word which has not so really a direct or close, in the close area of either coding, programming, or kid or child. At the end of the day, what we are doing there is we try, or we take with embeddings, we take the word using an embedding algorithm behind the scenes, which, for example, OpenAI is as well offering, and getting out a vector array, which are purely vectors, and put this into the database, into a vector database here. So, in our example before, we are searching for a phone for iOS developer. We created an embedding database before with all the data or with all the products inside the Ariba catalog. and have now the embeddings overview. Now I'm asking for, give me the phone for iOS developer, and you see here in the circle, phone for iOS developer is close to the iPhone 14 Pro as a smartphone or the iPhone 13 as a smartphone. It's not close to a MacBook, and it's not close to a Pixel 7 or the Samsung Galaxy. For us as human, that's natural, but here that's an important step what we need to do. Okay, going to the next steps. What we did. We took from SAP IT, the catalog of Ariba, what we have internally. At the end, it's a comma-separated value list. We know that ChatGPT, because LLM, large language model, works best with complete language or sentences. So we brought in the CSV file content to a long text here with the product name, price, currency, and supplier. And the bucket, what you're seeing here, is often simple as free AWS, what you can run or use behind BTP. And out of this bucket, grab all the content or all the lines and the values and create an embeddings database at the end, a Redis store, what's happening here on the right side. In our prototype, as mentioned, what's the best phone for an iOS developer? If we are asking, we are running through this Python bridge. That's a middleware layer or middleware service we have created inside from the team. Then we get back from the embeddings, what you just saw before, the iPhone 15 Pro costs, the iPhone SE 3rd Gen and the costs here, and the iPhone 14 Pro. That's the first step. But now, what are we doing with ChatGPT actually? If you use ChatGPT and you are reading a little bit about it, prompt engineering is really important. Give ChatGPT a context, and that's what we are doing here. We give the context to ChatGPT. Use the following pieces of context to answer the questions at the end. Then we take the results from our embedding, from our search, the similarity search, put it in where you see the dots here, and then please answer the question, what's the best phone for an iOS developer? And what we get out is a really long verbose description from ChatGPT, like the best phone for an iOS developer depends on their specific needs and budget. Here's a breakdown of the options provided. I don't read through now, but actually you see ChatGPT is enhancing our results out of the embeddings request, what we did. And the interesting part is, during our POC phase, we also figured out that ChatGPT used as well, so when the delivery can be. So even if you say, okay, I like to have iPhone 15 Pro, for example, but you need it really urgent, often the information is already there with the supply chain information. Hey, if you go with a 3rd Gen, you have it already tomorrow, otherwise you have to wait 2 weeks, which can be a really important message. That's really cool. And this came out of our POCing phase. Now you can ask yourself, okay, but we at SAP, since we are a software company, do we have something what we offer that we can internally use and external other developers as well, or other customers? Of course. So there is SAP AI Core, which helps a lot here. So you see the first step, you have to do the indexing workflow. And with the index workflow, it's only a YAML file where you say, okay, on the left side, you have your textual data, what you see before, for what we did with the Ariba catalog. In the YAML file, you say only, here's the URL for the text data. Then you are saying, and by the way, please create out of this text data the embeddings or the vector database, the content with this model XYZ, and please use this URL to the service. Then the second step is there's a serving template as well, a YAML file. You as a developer, you simply say, okay, insert the URL for the ChatGPT and other metadata, and out of this, SAP AI Core creates a question answering service, basically an API, what is then running on BTP in Cloud Foundry and our middleware, what I mentioned before, the Python middleware, can talk to. And that's the connection then as well to ChatGPT. Why we have the middleware? The middleware is important because we like to have a stable API between the mobile app and call it the middle layer from the backend point of view, because if you run native development, so it's really important, or it's good if you have a stable API there and no breaking changes in general. And we extend or enhance as well what we get back, the text from ChatGPT, what we saw before. We can as well insert images like yes, that's how the iPhone 15 Pro looks, that's how the MacBook look, etc. pp. So which means we can show a nicer user experience, what you're used to as an end user actually. Good. So with that, open tasks who are left are, because we are running this POC, or we are by the app, we did the POC already. Authentication is still a topic what we need to do, so that's in front of us. The API integration is not yet totally done. So the keeping up to date, the data strategy is really important, because an Ariba catalog is changing. Think about what I mentioned, the MacBook released 2 days ago, maybe in a couple of weeks, we have this as well in the company. And then we need to rerun the data update so that the embeddings are there. That's really important, because otherwise, we do not recommend those kind of products, which maybe fits perfectly for you, and then it's really disappointing. And that's really an important part, because we are looking really for increasing business impact and a really awesome user experience, which means we have to surprise in a positive way, obviously, our users, our customers. And if especially such an AI feature is not seen as smart enough because we have missing products or whatsoever, then the usage rate will go down. And this is what we are measuring at the end of the day. Okay, so since I'm not the only one, this is really the team did it. I like to give some kudos to Eric Senderlin, because he is running as an AI developer. He did a lot of stuff there. Everything what you saw before, as well Levende, our designer, which everything designed what you can see in the SAP Ariba Shopping app there. And with that, unfortunately I cannot show the demo right now, because as mentioned, my Mac crashed shortly before. But I can show, let's go directly over to the Q&As, if you have already Q&As. Live Q&A. So welcome back to our Q&A session. So there are already questions inside. A lot of people are already asking, is AI Core free of charge? There are two options. There is a free tier, what can be used. For given, let's say, time or for units, please check out the AI Core page, because of course this model or the free tier and what's behind can change. That's why I would not now point out directly how much is inside. And there is a pay as you go, which means obviously, because at the end of the day, it's really how much tokens you are consuming and which models are behind. And that's why please go to the webpage to AI Core. There you find it directly. All the possibility, what you can get, and as well the pricing topics. Another question which is coming in, which is really a sophisticated one, is it possible to visualize or display even more than 100 dimensions for embeddings? So yes, there are really big dimensions, even more than 100. It can be really 1,000 at the end of the day. And there are different methodology to bring this down at the end. There is the principal component analysis concept behind, so which means shrinking down the room or the possibilities or the dimensions actually down, and not losing too much information. So that still all the valid informations are part of, and that we can later on do with the similarity search or the vector search, how close the different data points are, still works. So there, search for, if you like to have a little bit more details there, search in the internet for the principal component analysis, and then you see really fancy graphs with a lot of points and how this is shrinking down. But this is really already a deeper term or deeper topic you can figure out there. Yeah, and with that, I would say thank you for dialing in, and was really great to talk to you, and hopefully see you in the one or the other sessions, and go there and download the SAP Ariba Shopping app and wait for upcoming features. Thank you.